Time. The one thing we all think we understand: we wake up, we age, we die. Seconds become minutes. Minutes become hours. The ticking of the clock gives us structure, order, reason. But what if that ticking is an illusion? What if time isn't a straight line, but a fragile construct on the edge of collapse? For centuries, humans believed that time moved forward like an arrow, smooth, linear, predictable. But in recent decades, physicists have uncovered disturbing anomalies that suggest time may not work the way we think it does. In fact, new evidence from quantum mechanics and theoretical physics is pointing to something terrifying. Time might be collapsing in on itself, and we're only just beginning to notice. The theory is known as nonlinear time, and it challenges the very core of our reality. In this framework, past, present, and future all exist simultaneously, locked together in a massive, unchanging block of existence. This concept, known as the block universe theory, suggests that your future has already happened, and you're merely living out a script you cannot change. But what if there's more? What if time isn't just static but actually folding in on itself? Recent data from particle collisions at CERN and time-based anomalies reported by top physicists have led some to believe we are approaching what scientists call a temporal collapse, a breaking down of the linear perception of time caused by disturbances in the quantum structure of spacetime itself. One of the most disturbing implications of this theory is that the future could be affecting the past. This phenomenon, called retrocausality, has been tested in quantum experiments, where the outcome of a future decision appears to influence events that happened in the past. Think about that for a second. Your future self, reaching back to change your present. If that's true, the boundary between cause and effect begins to blur. The rules that govern logic, consequence, and decision-making begin to fall apart. It's no longer a causes. B might be influencing A, or both could be happening at once. But here's the terrifying part. Some scientists believe these retroactive quantum disturbances are increasing. There are theories that reality is desync, and the flow of time is becoming erratic at microscopic and while mainstream science dismisses it as fringe speculation, certain whistleblowers claim global institutions are fully aware and trying to stop it. Reports from black-budget research programs hidden deep in military archives describe anomalies where entire time segments vanish, where clocks desynchronize across closed systems, and where human consciousness seems to skip like a scratched record, reliving the same moment multiple times. Is this just technology glitching, or is the timeline itself cracking? Even more unsettling are personal testimonies from ordinary people who've experienced bizarre time slips, missing hours, looped conversations, memories that don't align with reality. Some even recall events that, by all official records, never happened. These are no longer isolated cases, they're spreading. If time is truly unraveling, what happens to free will? What happens to history, to the future we think we're building? What happens? To us, this isn't just a thought experiment anymore. This is a warning. The clock may still be ticking, but what it's counting down to isn't the future. It might be the end of time itself. In 2009, deep beneath the Franco-Swiss border, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN shattered particles together at nearly the speed of light. Most of the world saw it as a leap forward in scientific understanding. But behind the headlines and public smut, some physicists whispered a more chilling possibility. These experiments could disturb the structure of time itself. One internal memo leaked but never officially confirmed allegedly warned that certain quantum field tests risked creating localized temporal in simple words, tears in the flow of time. While the public focused on the discovery of the Higgs boson, insiders were reportedly more concerned with unexplainable anomalies detectors triggering before particles arrive, signals echoing back from the future, and synchronization failures between atomic clocks. These glitches weren't hardware faults, they were temporal distortions. But CERN isn't alone. In the United States, declassified files from the Project Pegasus initiative in the 1970s, originally framed as harmless teleportation research, mention quantum displacement across temporal junctions. That's bureaucratic language for time travel experiments. Test subjects, often young children, were allegedly placed in devices known as chronovisors, machines said to view events in the past or even future. Some accounts describe subjects returning disoriented, physically aged, or even with fractured memory, remembering futures that hadn't happened yet. Are these stories science fiction, or fragments of a truth too disturbing to fully admit? Enter retrocausality, one of the most baffling and least understood phenomena in quantum physics. In the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment, photons seem to change their state based on measurements taken after they've already passed through a double slit. It's as if the future is reaching backward to change the past. If even light doesn't obey time, what makes us think we do? The implications are terrifying. If retrocausality is real and reproducible, it could mean that the entire timeline is fluid, subject to interference, manipulation, or even collapse. Think of time not as a river, but but as a fragile glass sphere shimmering, with potential but vulnerable to a single crack. Some theorists suggest that these cracks are growing. Temporal drift, a term rarely discussed in public, refers to the idea that multiple versions of time may be overlapping, like radio signals bleeding into each other. This could explain the rising accounts of Mandela effects myths, memories of events that never officially happened. These aren't just psychological errors. In a drifting timeline, your memory might be real. In another version of history, what's worse, some believe that powerful organizations are intentionally altering time, not just observing it, changing it. Projects like Looking Glass, long rumored to be covert black-budget operations, supposedly attempted to use quantum computers and gravitational lensing to view alternate futures and potentially collapse undesirable ones. Whistleblowers claim that certain global events have been nudged or restructured through these techniques, but manipulating time, even slightly, could have consequences no one can predict. We might be living in one of those consequences. Consider this. Why does time feel like it's moving faster? Why do weeks vanish like days? Why do patterns repeat in the news, in our personal lives? Like we're stuck in a loop? These sensations might not be perception problems. They might be temporal compression effects, the result of collapsed or converging timelines. Even nature seems confused. Migratory animals showing up months early or late. Seasons beginning off, plants blooming in reverse order. Time isn't just acting strange in labs, it's leaking into the real world. But perhaps the most unsettling sign comes not from technology or nature but the human mind itself. A rising number of people report shared dreams of future events, vivid déjà vu that spans minutes, even hours. Some experience precognitive episodes, moments where they act on events before they occur. These aren't just anecdotes. Studies in fringe neuroscience show that certain regions of the brain activate before stimuli are received. In plain terms, the brain might be seeing the future before it arrives. If consciousness is not bound by time, what else might not be? There's a reason why mainstream science avoids these discussions. Funding, reputation, fear. But beneath the surface, in the labs of defense contractors and hidden university departments, the research continues. Silently, urgently. Because if time is truly unraveling, we may not have much of it left to act. And what happens if we reach a breaking point? If the timeline buckles under its own weight, some suggest the end result wouldn't be an explosion, but a reset, a snap back to a prior moment or worse, a complete erasure of continuity. Reality rebooted with no memory of what came before. We could be living in the third, fourth, or 10th iteration of history, never knowing what was lost each time. So as we move forward, the question becomes clear. Are we guiding time, or is time guiding us? Or maybe we've already lost control.